Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to our very first FutureDocs Abroad broadcast and for you guys meeting Sierra. We wanted to do these little kind of interview calls so that you can get your questions answered and hear from a program alumni exactly what it's like to be involved in FutureDocs Abroad. So everyone, Sierra, this is Sierra. Sierra, say hello.
Hi everyone, I'm Sierra.
And Sierra, why don't you tell us first off, A, where you went, B, when you went. Start with that.
So in June of 2016, I went to Ahmedabad, India. It's the third largest city in India, so it was a very developed part, but still what we would consider underdeveloped. So that was the summer before my senior year of high school.
Awesome. And what was it like? You obviously heard about the program and you enrolled. What was it like to sort of sign up for something in a different country, somewhere so far away, making that decision?
It was really difficult to convince my parents. I was very excited to go because I love traveling and I had never been to anything in Asia or even past Europe. So it was hard to convince my parents just because it does seem so scary going that far for that long, basically by yourself without somebody that you know. But then once we realized just how safe and secure everything was and how great the chaperones were, it wasn't a problem. But it was definitely nerve-wracking at first and a lot of anxiety of thinking, I have no idea what I'm walking into, but it ended up being really great.
And saying that, like the anxiety and the nerves, I can imagine, your first preliminary thought of just meeting everyone at the airport, thinking, what do I do? What was that like, just walking into a room full of people that you're going to spend 2 weeks with?
Yeah, it was definitely weird. I was actually one of the first people there just with the way the flights worked out. So I arrived before the chaperones. So when the chaperones arrived, they were so welcoming and kind, and I realized I'm going to be with a really good group of people. And then once all the students started arriving, we were all kind of shy and nervous, just like, I don't know how to interact with people. But after the first 2 days, we were all so close with one another. I loved my roommate. She was amazing. It was really fun to meet her for the first time because we had talked for several months before. It was just so excited to go with each other. So it was definitely weird to finally meet all these people that you've been talking to online, but it was so exciting to walk into the airport and just finally meet everybody and get to go on this adventure with them.
So you guys got connected before you arrived, before you even left?
Yeah, so there was a Facebook group and it was created probably 6 months before. So we were all in there. We were able to talk, ask each other questions like, what are you expecting? What are you scared about? What are you packing was a big thing. And because of that, also my roommate and I were able to get really close. So it wasn't awkward when we got there at all. So it was really good.
That's awesome. And just so you guys know, there obviously is a Facebook group for the attendees already set up. So as soon as you're enrolled, you'll be able to connect with the people that you'll be traveling with. And Sierra will actually be part of those groups as well. So she can answer any questions that you might have and help you with, any sort of questions, concerns that pop up. You can post something in there and I'm sure she will be more than happy to answer. So let's talk about now, Sierra, when you first arrived, when you first got to India, what was it like to experience this whole new culture, this whole new thing, just completely different from being at home?
At first it was honestly terrifying. When we first got off the plane, I remember the first thing everyone said is, it is so hot. So that was definitely a big adjustment period of just adjusting to the heat and the humidity and the sweat. But after the first week or so, we were kind of used to it. Didn't make it any better, but we were used to it. The first time driving was insane. I think people in India are probably the craziest drivers in the world. So the first bus ride to go to the hotel, a lot of us were like, we're going to hit something. We're going to hit a cow. We might die on this bus. Who knows? But you realize that that's just the norm of their culture, that they don't have stop signs, they don't have stoplights, people just go whenever they feel like it. So I think that was the biggest adjustment, is not being scared in the bus because you knew that you were going to be fine. I think the stray animals everywhere, that was very different. We don't really have just animals kind of roaming around in our cities, but the hotel was very modern and nice, so that felt like a piece of home, and it was a very westernized hotel, which was good. The hospital was very different from what we know, but it was still, I think it was so important to see what healthcare is like around the world. But the initial culture shock was definitely a lot, but it was really amazing.
Definitely. So just a reminder to everyone, we're not traveling to India this year. We have a few locations, though, for the first time, more than one. We are traveling to Monterrey, Mexico, Poznan, Poland, and Hue, I believe it's actually said. We keep saying Hue, but it's Hue, Vietnam. So those are the three locations. Mexico and Poland are for high school students, and our program in Hue is for college students. So those are three very different places, all available. Poland, unfortunately, we are closed enrollments for, so congratulations to anyone who might be watching this that is attending. But we have spaces in Monterrey, Mexico, and in Hue, Vietnam. So those are two incredible locations, both warm. I'm sure that you'll enjoy that in the summer. Very, very safe. And as Sierra mentioned, we'll be staying in sort of westernized hotels to make the transition easier for you guys as well. So Sierra, tell me now about what everyone wants to know about. What was it like to do those big three things that we all talk about? Gross anatomy, shadowing physicians, observing surgery, the things you just really have to do.
Yeah, so when we first got there, the first couple of days, we were just kind of getting used to where we were. We did some sightseeing, and of course it was cool, but I was kind of like, wow, this is so scary and different. But then once our first day in the hospital, we were all just like kids in a candy shop, like we were in heaven. I remember I got very lucky. My very first day was actually the surgery rotation, so I got to watch 9 surgeries that day. Wow. It was insane. I remember standing there watching. I was watching a bowel resection, and I was thinking, I am 16 years old. I'm about to be a senior in high school. I'm in India, and I'm watching a surgery right now. Like, it was the craziest thing ever. So the medical stuff was absolutely amazing. Watching surgeries is something that you literally cannot do in the US if you're under 18. So knowing that we were all like 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, even some that were younger, just having that experience was incredible. And then shadowing the doctors was absolutely amazing. Anytime you shadow a doctor, it's really cool just to like see like what being a doctor is really like, but especially doing it in a different country and seeing the differences in the healthcare and patient care, it's amazing. And the hospital that we were in, it was a public hospital. It was like a government-run hospital, so it was extremely busy. And of course, it wasn't as nice as some of the other ones in the city. So these doctors had to be the most passionate people I have ever met, just because they had to see so many patients a day. And I think it's cool to see how doctors help patients through some of the scariest times of their life while still being so calm, and just learning more about what it really means to be a doctor, that it's not just making diagnoses every day. It's about truly caring for all of your patients and helping them through the hardest times of their lives, and also helping their families, because family is a very important thing in India. So seeing how doctors interacted with everybody in the room was really cool. And then the gross anatomy lab was amazing. That was definitely one of my favorite parts. It's really easy to say that you want to be a doctor, you want to be a surgeon, but until you are actually standing over a body and, cutting into it with a scalpel, you can never really know if you can do it. So like making like the first cut was it was honestly exhilarating to think, wow, this is a human body. Like most people don't get to do this until they're 3rd or 4th year medical students, and I get to do this while I'm in high school. And it was so cool to just actually like finally like see body parts and like take out organs and study them. It was so eye-opening and absolutely exciting. Like our adrenaline was so high on those days. It was really, really fun.
I can imagine, you saying you don't know if you can actually be a doctor until you do. I mean, I could not do that. I'm going to stand up here. I'm going to say, not me, not for me. I'm glad it's you. But what was it like? I'm sure after you came out of that, you were just like, this is it. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Did you have aha?
I had the biggest aha moment in my entire life. So after the first couple of days, I realized, okay, medicine is definitely for me. But I wasn't sure what specialty of medicine I wanted to go into. And thankfully, I still have time where I am now, and especially then. But I had my big aha moment in one of our rotations. It was actually the very last rotation I got to do, and it was the OB/GYN day. And I remember the very first thing we did that day was the resident pulled us into an OR, and we were watching the first cut of a C-section. And I was just in awe of what I was watching. And then when the baby came out, I literally started bawling, and it just hit me like a bus. I was like, I don't know why I'm crying right now, but it hit me like a bus that that's what I was meant to do for the rest of my life in that moment. And the rest of my rotation group, they were like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Guys, this is awesome. How are you not freaking out right now? Like, we just saw somebody's life start. Like, this is so cool." So that was, still call it the best day of my entire life. I got to see 2 other C-sections besides the first one, 2 hysterectomies. We got to see a sonogram of triplets, which was awesome. We did so much clinical work. We went to the NICU. We went into the nursery. It was seriously the greatest day ever. And walking out of that specific day, I knew this is what I meant to do for the rest of my life, which was such a good feeling to know that at just 16 years old, especially as you're beginning to apply to college in the next couple months.
That I've heard that story a couple times now, and you know I have, and every single time it still just makes me so happy and so happy for you, and I'm so glad every time that you had that experience. So congratulations. What was it, when you got to come home and tell your parents about this? What was it like to say, like, I know what I want to do?
I think they were just as shocked and surprised as I was. I knew that they knew I was having just an amazing time, like the best weeks of my life, and that I was enjoying myself, and I really knew that medicine was for me. But when I came home and I said, I 100% know I want to be an OB/GYN, they were kind of shocked. Like, they expected a lot from the program, but I don't think that they expected that much. And just everything that's given back to me, and like finding out like what I want to do in my life, it's so comforting to know that I guess I have it figured out at this early point in my life. I know that my parents were super proud of me for doing something like this and keeping an open mind to different things, because going into the trip, I thought I really wanted to do something with neuroscience or neurosurgery. And it's not that the day disappointed me. It just it didn't grab my attention as much as it did. But then I got to the OB/GYN day and I was like, this is me. Like, this is who I am. So I definitely think that if you do go on the trip, to just keep an open mind to different specialties, because I would have never guessed in a million years that OB/GYN would be the thing that was for me. So just really absorb everything in all the rotations, appreciate all of them, and you can never know like where you'll find your passions.
Of course, and I think that is a fantastic piece of advice for anyone that's considering coming or is already enrolled and think that is attending next summer. I think that's an incredible piece of advice. Just keep an open mind and just enjoy every second of your time wherever you are. So I don't want to make assumptions, but I'm going to say that your biggest win for the trip was probably seeing that C-section.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was. I mean, I've always been kind of a believer that everything happens for a reason. And like, I know that the resident pulled us into that OR at that specific time so that I could see that, and I really think that like my fate and my destiny hit me like a bus in the form of a baby during that C-section. But I mean, that was by far like probably the greatest moment of my entire life. And I know definitely my favorite part of that whole day and probably the whole trip. So it was really amazing.
Amazing. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, like just about to maybe people that are considering coming or already enrolled?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely go. It's, for a lot of people it is a hefty price, but I know that for me personally, the trip has more than paid for itself. I cannot thank this program and this trip enough for how much it helped me with college admissions, and especially for the people who are going into this trip, before their senior year or even after their senior year for med school applications, that it sets you apart from everybody else around you, that there's such a small group of people who get to do trips like this, and this is a one-of-a-kind program, that you will be like a one-of-a-kind, and it will open up shadowing opportunities for you. I know it has for me. I got a half-ride scholarship to my dream school that I probably couldn't have gotten if it weren't for this trip. For college applications, the essays, they write themselves. People will be as shocked as you are. I was shocked at how much I got out of this. And when you tell people, oh, I went to India last summer for a medical internship, they just kind of stare at you like, you did what? So I think the biggest takeaway and benefit is everything that you get afterwards, whether it be shadowing physicians or college admissions or medical school admissions or job interviews. You will get so much out of this trip, more than just the weeks that you're there, as on top of the weeks I was there were the best weeks of my entire life.
So what have you been doing since? And well, let's talk about school after, because that's a great story. But what kind of opened up for you shadowing wise?
this is kind of a crazy story. So I came back after the trip my senior year, and I told my counselor like what I did this summer, and he's like, "Wow, this is really amazing. We want you to do like a little presentation for one of the freshman classes." So it was a culture studies class, and I was just kind of talking about like how different the culture was in general and the healthcare and everything that I got to do. And the teacher that was in that class, her best friend is an OBGYN. So she said, "Here's her contact info. Tell her all about this. She can't wait to meet you." So because of that, I've got to shadow her several times. So I've seen several more C-sections here in the U.S., which is really great. And shadowing opportunities in the U.S. is very, very hard to get as a high school student. It's just as hard as a pre-med student. So having that opportunity right when I came back from the trip was absolutely insane. And I know that as I'm applying for shadowing opportunities right now, that's the first thing that I'm going to write about is this trip. So shadowing is so, so, so important, and you get so much of it out of this trip afterwards as well.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to throw in like my number one piece of advice. Sorry if no one wants it, but like my number one piece of advice for all students, for whether they've come to one of our congresses or whether they're thinking about going to FutureDocs Abroad, is just to say yes. Say yes to the opportunities that you're maybe concerned about. Say yes to the opportunities that are put in front of you. Say yes to giving a presentation about a trip that you've just been on, because you never know what's going to come out of it. So just sharing my little say yes moment there. And if you're thinking about it, say yes, because I guarantee you're just going to have a mind-blowing time. But now the really exciting part of this story that I love so much. Sierra, where are you right now?
So I'm sitting in my dorm room actually right now at the University of Miami, and I couldn't be happier here, and I honestly don't think that I would be where I am without this program. It's one of the top pre-med programs in the country, and so I was very hesitant to get in. I didn't have the test scores I wanted. Writing a personal statement that is basically one of a kind because this trip sets you so far apart. I'm doing great things here. I'm in a lot of pre-med clubs. I'm currently trying to rush for a pre-med co-ed fraternity right now. And I know that being able to talk about this has gotten me through that. So that's really exciting and something that is really relevant to me right now. I'm getting ready for the next event in a few hours. So the doors after this trip, they literally will never stop opening for you. So if you are a person who is stressed about college admissions, which means you're a normal person, and you're worried about your test scores or your grades, and I want to stand out, this is how you stand out, is going on this trip.
I just congratulations to you. I know how much you wanted to go to UM, and I'm so happy that you're there right now. And I can't wait to keep hearing about what you're doing and what you're up to and your successes and everything. I don't think we have any more questions or anything like that. Is there anything that you just wanted, pearls of wisdom, something to offer or anything like that to our prospective students?
Just go for it if you're considering this trip, or if you're going on this trip but you're scared, or if you can't afford it, just go for it, because I cannot express how much this trip has done for me and the people that I'm still in touch with, which is quite a few, and the friends that I made. It's just endless opportunities after, and being able to come back as an alumni student and work for you guys now, that's just another opportunity that I've gotten to have. So just go for it, honestly. Like Ellie said, just say yes, just go. It will change your life. It sounds so cliche, but it seriously will.
Oh, I think my connection has got a bit funny there. I hope that we get you back in a second, Sierra, if not immediately. There you are, you're back. You were just saying it's changed your life, and then you went to your little picture. Anyway, it will change your life, won't it?
Well, it seriously will.
Awesome. Wow. Anyone that is watching this or continues to watch this, if you would like the opportunity to speak with Sierra or one of our other program alumni one-on-one, you absolutely can. Just speak to our admissions office, either post a comment below this video, give us a call, or send us an email. Again, all that information is going to be below, and you can set up a time to speak one-on-one with Sierra, or, as I said, a number of our other alumni with any questions, any concerns, any advice, anything that you want. Again, we have enrollment open at the moment in Monterrey, Mexico, and in Hue, Vietnam, for high school students and college students. So please do check that out, have a look and see what you think would be the best fit for you based on what age you are. Check it out. If you have any questions, please do let us know. And we really, really hope that you can join us for the experience of a lifetime next summer. Thanks, guys, and have a good evening.